Students, we are starting our new chapter, Support, Movement and Locomotion. In today's lesson, we'll see the differences between movement and locomotion, bone and cartilage. Then we will see some components of skeleton system, function of human skeleton system. Then we'll see some major bones of forelimb or forearm. I will tell you a brief description on biceps and tricep muscles. And in the end, we will see some differences between tendon and ligament, both of which are connective tissues. First, let's discuss what's the difference between locomotion and movement. Locomotion is actually the movement of entire body from one place to another. As you can see here, the person is moving from one place to another. On the other hand, the movement is the change in position of one part of the body in relation to another. The person is not covering any distance but only moving one part of the body, that is the head in this case, relative to the other body parts. So the movement does not involve any displacement. Let's see the differences between bone and cartilage. Bone is more rigid compared to cartilage. Bone has two types while cartilage has three. The two types of the bone which you should know are compact and spongy bone. Spongy bone is inside while the compact bone surrounds it. Then let's see the functional differences between bone and cartilage. The bone actually provides shape, protection, and also is responsible for production of blood cells and serves as a reservoir for minerals. On the other hand, cartilage reduces friction between bones and joints, acts as a shock absorber, and prevents respiratory system tubes, that is the trachea and bronchi, from collapsing. If you remember the chapter of respiration where we read about the C-shaped cartilage in the trachea and bronchi, where the cartilage was preventing the collapse of trachea, here in the diagram as well I have tried to show you C-shaped cartilage which are keeping the airways intact and up straight so that the air can move into the air tract. On the other hand, if you see here, I've written that production of blood cell is the function of bone. The bone contains bone marrow, which is the reservoir for stem cells, which can become the blood cells whenever required. They can mature or become differentiated into different blood cells. It also serves as a reservoir for minerals, especially calcium. Both are made up of different cellular components which are not being discussed here since they are beyond the scope of your syllabus. Then we will see what makes the bone, what the bones are actually making up the skeleton system, while cartilage is to be found in ear, nose, trachea and bronchi. Vascular are the bones while cartilages are avascular. It means that the blood supply or blood vessel is there in the bone while cartilage lacks that. Bone also contain bone marrow which is being lacked by cartilages. Now let's see the components of skeleton system. The skeleton system consists of bones which contain calcium phosphate, which is responsible for the hardness and helps it to resist pushing forces, helps our body to bear our body weight by our bones. It is because of the hardness provided by calcium phosphate. Then we have collagen. It's a protein that forms fiber, giving the bone elasticity, helping them to give a snap when large forces are applied to them. Collagen actually is responsible for elasticity in the bone. A certain degree of elasticity is necessary in bones. Bones should not be that rigid so that whenever you jump or whenever there is a jerk or shock to the bones, if they had been very rigid, they would have broken down easily. While by nature collagen helps the bones to prevent from fracture and breakage because of the necessary elasticity provided by them. Then we have cartilage, which is less rigid material, found at the ends of bones where they meet at joints to reduce friction between them. So whenever the bones are being joined together, they would have a rigid material, a less rigid material between them, that is the cartilage, which is responsible to prevent friction whenever the joints move. Now let's see the function of human vertebrate skeleton. First function, which is very important, it is that of the movement. Skeleton muscles are attached to bones, and remember that muscles do not move, they only contract and then pull the bones so that the movement can be made possible. Hence, as the associated muscle contract, they cause bones to move. Bones do not move themselves, nor muscles move. Muscles move because of the nerve impulses. They contract, not move. They contract and pull off the bones so that the movement can be made possible. Then we have the function of protection. The skeleton provides mechanical protection for many of the body's internal organs, reducing the risk of damage to them. If you know the structure of our rib cage, you see how rib cage is protecting the vital organs such as lungs and heart. Then we have cranium or skull, which is protecting our brain. So the protection is one of the most important function of human skeleton system. Then we have support. The skeleton is the framework of the body. It supports the softer tissues and provides points of attachment for the most parts of the skeleton muscles. It also acts as a storehouse for minerals. This point is discussed before in the previous slide. Bone tissue stores several minerals including calcium and phosphorus. When required, bone releases these minerals into the bloodstream. Then we have the function of production of blood cells. The red bone marrow of some of the bones like vertebrae and ribs, they are responsible to have the reservoir for blood cells in the form of stem cells. Now let's discuss the bones of the forelimb. You have to remember their names and location. This is scapula or shoulder bone. This is making a ball and socket joint with humerus. Humerus is the bone in your upper arm. It's a longer bone and single. It is making a ball and socket joint with the scapula. I will explain what ball and socket joint is in later lectures. Now, if you see that the humerus is making another joint which is called hinge joint with a bone called ulna. The ulna is also having radius above it, but the joint, the hinge joint, is made between humerus and ulna. This is the posterior view of your elbow joint, the same diagram that I showed you in previous slide but with a different angle. This is the radius, which is along your thumb. If you can see here, along the thumb you have your radius, while along your little finger is the ulna, which is making the hinge joint with the humerus. This is the hinge joint made between ulna and humerus. This is another view to show you how the hinge joint is made between humerus and ulna. Radius is above here, and if you can see the movement of the hinge joint, it is in one plane. You can move your arm up and down because of this joint, which is called hinge joint between the humerus and ulna. Make sure that you also get to know that both radius and ulna can also rotate partially over each other. When you rotate your arm, they can rotate over each other like this in the diagram. Okay, now let's see the differences between ligaments and tendon. First, keep in mind that both of them are connective tissue. Ligament is fibrous connective tissue, so is the tendon. Ligament connect bone to bone. Here in the diagram, if you can see and find out ligament actually joins the bones together. Whenever the bones have to be joined together, it would be via ligaments. What about tendon? Tendon connects muscles to bone. Here you can see the bone and muscle connection is made by tendon. Ligament is more stretchable compared to tendon. Okay, now let's see biceps and triceps. Bicep muscles are above here. If you can see, they are being labeled here, while triceps are below. I will tell you the function later when we will read about extension and flexion. But for now, just remember that biceps and triceps are antagonistic muscles. Antagonistic muscles means that they work opposite to each other.